planes are as big as Jin airplanes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the SSL Challenge. What a world we live in. What a time to be alive, Valdez.
That was just like a meme series. I mean, SOS, he really provides fun games, but then Bunny decides to throw one back his way, and it actually works. The proxy reactor factory for Cyclones to go up the ramp, and SOS finally decides to play a normal game, and he gets caught out.
Indeed, he does. He gets caught with his build orders pants down and just completely wiped out there in the last game. But, you know, it was not without, it's all about what you consider your win condition. Some people think it's about making your opponent GG or killing all of your opponent's buildings. No! It's about innovating with double robotics facilities to win games, man. And that's going to take us into our second series. Zest, fresh from SSL Premier, is down here to make it all the way back up. He's got a long road ahead of him, and you know, a lot of people kind of consider Zest in kind of the same place that SOS is, a guy that used to be at the tippity top of his game and has kind of fallen from grace.
Yeah, and he's going up against this guy, Dead Pixels Impact, coming in with a pretty slick jersey, but can he have some slick build orders to take out the former Premier player? I don't know. I mean, you were saying, you know, he lost a couple of key games against our Zerg buddy.
It's a good thing that he's not playing against a Zerg player. That's all. So he's pretty happy.
Zesty, he was showing worse games than SOS, man, in Premier. So if SOS's play was any indicator of what we might see out of Zest, Impact definitely does have a chance. That's what I'm going to say here.
All right, our map pool for our second series will be Odyssey, Newkirk Precinct, and Ascension to Ire. So I'm kind of seeing a theme here, Valdez. We get to see both of our new maps and then one of our old holdovers. That'll be Newkirk Precinct, kind of sandwiched there in the middle.
I'm liking these maps, bringing them over to SSL as well. So adding them in, taking out some of those other ones, like I think we have Bel'shir Vestige taken out, and now one other. I forget the other map that got taken out, but
I'd have to see the pool again. But
yeah,
going to see a lot of games recently, not only in this tournament, but basically in every tournament on Ascension to Ire and Odyssey. So it's cool that we get to add those map pools to the pool, keep things all nice and relevant. You know, Zest, a player that I think a lot of people favor in this matchup. I was looking at some votes, some polls, and absolutely no one was voting for Impact. I'm like, okay, well, guys, he loses some series in the GSL qualifiers. Now he's just not going to win ever again. No, that's not how it works. So I actually think that this could go very well.
He made it through, right? He made it through one qualifier here to SSL Challenge, and basically the same players play in every kind of qualifier, you know, the same caliber of players, you can say. So if he made it into one, then he definitely has a chance to actually do okay in it, I could say. And he has a relatively easy matchup against Zest. I mean, you look at some of the other players, just call it like it is. You look at Sue, even Rogue and Beyond, some of the other players we got coming up later. Zest, he's really got to prove himself here in his first Premier and SSL Challenge, if you will. So let's jump into game number 1 on Odyssey.
And here we go. We are going to fly better fly onto, once again, Odyssey. Our yellow Protoss player in the upper left-hand corner, he is Zest. Fresh off of a victory at the Gameland tournament in Canada. His opponent in the purple as Zerg, it's Dead Pixels Impact.
So I would expect this series to be a little bit more standard. Zest's not really the tricky Protoss that SOS is. Impact, he's just going to be trying to show good games to, you know, get some feet underneath him, get some stabilization here in SSL Challenge.
I thought you were going to say so his fans would cheer for him. That's the only reason.
Get some feet under him,
that's
so his fans can cheer for him?
No, show good games.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how it works. True. I figured it out from watching all their interviews. So yeah, now we just
the secret code of all interviews.
Yeah, Hatchery first into gas, and there's the spawning pool finally coming down. Not expecting anything too early, and he's calling it right. Zest spanned on the way, right as this gateway finishes.
So, who are you feeling in this series? I mean, you were talking a lot about the polls, but what are your thoughts, Reed? read Rapid Melting?
All right. It's just looking from these players' recent performances, I feel like Zest is doing pretty well. Now, he did have to play up against a wide variety, assortment of players. I think in the most recent tournament, people would have seen him play in, and that was the NXNE Gameland StarCraft 2 Invitational, where he did win. He looked really good, and even though the finals went all the way, went the distance, I feel like he definitely deserved to win. Showed great games there, and I at least for Impact, the most recent time I've seen him, like I said, is in GSL qualifiers. So he didn't really look very good there, and granted there weren't any Protosses in his group, but I do feel like he has more to prove. He's never really ascended to the highs that Zest has achieved in the past, and I think that potential is still there. So I'm going to be siding with Zest for this one, but of course, very unbiased. I would love to see Impact make a name for himself, as he is new here to the SSL challenge.
We see Zest trying to proxy a Stargate down in the bottom left. Similar situation, or position rather, that SOS put his own. So seems to be the flavor of the month, Stargate proxy location down there. Not going to put a Nexus just yet. And his front door is open. So a couple of Zerglings just going to walk on in and get the full scout.
It's the easiest scout those two Zerglings has ever had. Hey! The shade just keeps bumping into him, but Zerglings have no concept of... What? Is he going to kill more?
Uh-oh. I mean, this is only 6 lings, 8 in total, I guess. But he
kills an Adept, and then he also forces all mining to stop at the natural expansion.
Was that an Adept? I feel like he almost... I felt like that was his own ling. I don't know. Either way, he's going for a huge ling play now.
Yeah, Baneling Nest just about to finish. Third base on the way as well. 20 Zerglings coming out. There's no drones in Impact's future. First Oracle across the map, though, and right as the Spore starts, that's going to be a little bit late.
Yeah, definitely will be late. Gonna have to rely on his Queen to push that out, but we know how that goes before the Spore is done, so he can just focus down all these drones, ignoring that Queen. But here we go, the Baneling's going through the front door, and there is a hole!
Oh no, the Baneling right in the middle of the probes. He needs to detonate it, and he will. Every single probe going down.
Okay, well, Zest not making a wall in time. That might just spell his doom, and no matter how many drones he gets, I don't think he can hold off this attack. There's no Mothership Core. He's got 2 Oracles. He needs to send one back home, but I'm not even sure that has enough energy to kill these lings before they kill all the probes.
Somebody needs to phone in White Raw to tell Zest that when you make your expand, you have to defense it. And even though he will eventually probably maybe clean this up, it's not without great cost.
Well, 28 probes, definitely a pretty gigantic cost.
And now there are only 7 remaining. So there's almost as many larvae as there are probes in this game, Valdez.
What is going on in SSL Challenge? I feel like we had more normal games in Season 1, which I feel like generally shouldn't be the case. You know, once the league gets underway and you kind of establish what it is and players trying to play more normal, but so far we've just been having these insane games with a bunch of cheeses and aggressive all-ins, obviously in part due to SOS, but Impact's trying to show some of the similar stuff.
Hey, never forget how last season of SSL Challenge finished, and that was with Bjorn's proxy double tech lab concussive shell marauder all-ins. Those were a hallmark of last season. Now, Zest saw SOS play, and he figured out that making just a bunch of Oracles is apparently the way to go. So he has done that, and we'll see if it's effective. Survey says no.
Well, he lost one. He almost lost the second one, too. Trying to fly out of that third base. And finally, we have Impact making some drones. Trying to get that drone count up. He's looking for the Stargate. He is about to find it there at the gold.
You know, Zest did not die, but I don't know, he's on 17 workers right now, so very, very far behind economically. He's also not going to be able to put really any pressure on Impact. He has those Oracles, but he's going to lose the Stargate, and that's just not something he can afford to really rebuild and commit to anymore.
I like what Zest is trying to do with the Oracles, but he's failing pretty horribly at it. I mean, he's gotten 4 kills, I think, in total, maybe 6 as he adds it up, and he's lost 2 Oracles, so not really the bang for your buck that you're looking when you are spamming those oracles. And he needed to get a lot of damage done because he's so far behind. Impact trying to get in here and make a bunch of drones, but now he's actually making more roaches as he sees that, hey, Adepts, he's got a decently large number of them, and they are scary if you have no units.
Yeah, and I think we're kind of seeing the death throes here. Zest going to try to move out across the map with every unit he can muster. That's just not a lot. I mean, Adepts are pretty good, but I don't think that in this situation they'll be able to really accomplish much. And I mean, Impact already has all these roaches on the way. I think this is just really going to seal the deal.
I think what he has to do is try to go for drones here, and that is exactly what he's going to try to do. Nice pull here by Impact. The roaches don't seem to be in high enough number, and Zest actually, even so, sticks around, tries to fight against them, and he's going to shade to his death. So I think you're exactly right, kind of just the death throes of Zest, trying to get damage done, but failing pretty miserably at that today.
So I feel like when you name yourself Zest, right, you know, what is Zest? Zest is what happens when you scrape the peel off of oranges. Zest is a word that means youthful and exuberant.
You really did your research about this word.
Well, I mean, he's a pretty famous player, man.
Yeah.
I'm a hashtag big fan. Got to do my research. All right, man. Trap those 2 drones. That's, looks pretty balanced. I mean, that one does. It's like, okay, well, 2 drones get to not mine when that much energy probably could have killed them. Yeah, so Zest is alive for some reason, and I think that reason is about to be a whole lot less valid here in just a second. He's trying to get up a 3rd base. I don't know, Impact did pull very far back, and he's putting no pressure onto the Protoss opponent. He has a bunch of Lings sitting inside his base, but he's not really doing anything with them just... Okay, he is doing something with Caster Curse. There we go.
Yeah, here we go. Finally does pull them in, trying to do damage, and Zest trying to fight with his probes. I think...
not too well.
You know, he loses 7 of them. I suppose he doesn't have to pull any of his units back to deal with it, but...
Well, that was going to Baneling drop on them, or even just roll them in, even though there's a Stalker there. Hydra Den coming up here, and so this is like the world's wackiest, most delayed Hydra Bane timing. It turns out you shove a bunch of roaches in there too, and it's going to be even better. Impact really can just do whatever he wants at this point. He could go for expanding to every base if he wants to play this a little bit slower. That appears to be kind of his style right now. But we should just see a massive swell of Zerg units shoved right up into Zest Natural once again, and I think second time could possibly be
He's bringing the Queens too. Why not? I mean, you've already made 6 of them to deal with the Oracles. The slow march across the map, and Impact really trying to swing the hammer here. We're going to have charge completed, but for what Zealots? He has 1. But he's still got the charge anyway, because I suppose why not? You can eventually warp those in. But Impact looking to finish this game, the one that he did start. And Zest will desperately make the hold.
We'll see. Zest is just now building his Robo. And I feel like if he really wanted to win this game and was playing very seriously, he would have proxied 2 of those near his opponent's base. But, you know, clearly didn't get the memo on the build there, so maybe we'll get a chance to see him do that in our next game. But this one, for now, is not going to last a whole lot longer. Valdez, GG.
Oh boy.
Impact. Takes game number 1.
That fight at the north where the sentries were fighting a bunch of roaches and just dying by themselves, I feel like that might just be what you guys are seeing for the rest of this series, because Zest, to be honest, I was hoping that he would come into challenge here and look a little bit better, but so far it seems in his first game he's really not up to par, which is kind of scary to say when he's facing off against Impact. I mean, the block was late. He didn't know it was coming, even though some Zerglings got into your base. You always have to be careful. He went for kind of a risky build where it's like you make your wall, but then you proxy the starport, the Stargate, so that you don't have a full wall. He didn't set up the rest of his wall in time, and Impact just
Brendan's got a long list of these things.
Saw an opportunity, and he took it, and Zest was just like, well, I guess I'm just going to lose then.
Well, you know, he didn't give up. He went from 7 probes all the way up to almost 50 and was climbing his way back. He started at 3rd base, which I just felt was very optimistic. And so you could see, tell his vision of the future was maybe a little bit more positive than the reality. But now we get a fresh start here in game number 2. This is going to be on Bel'shir Vestige, a very familiar map. This is Bel'shir, right?
That is not in the pool anymore.
No, it's not anymore. I forget what we were talking about. Oh, that's what we were doing. We were talking about maps that weren't in the pool, and you said Bel'shir, and I just thought we were playing on that. All right, our Protoss player losing game number 1, he is Zest.
Zesty play, I suppose. And down in the bottom right, it is Impact, taking game number 1 with a nice bust at the wall with his Banelings and Speedlings.
Yes, looks nothing like Bel'shir. As soon as it spawned, I was like, wait a second. This looks like a giant spider. I don't know, what does this map look like to you? This is like the Rorschach plot that nobody expects.
Kind of looks like a dog with long ears.
Oh, look at how cute that is. Impact waiting to make the hatchery, not only just because...
I thought you were talking about the dog.
Oh, well, that also. But, yeah, he made the hatchery right after the probe walked by, so it didn't get a chance to scout the hatch. But I don't think that was intentional. I think he just only had enough minerals at that point. Still looked cool. And now the probe gets to probe things, like be super annoying.
Yeah. At least Zest's not able to get the block with that play, and we are just going to transition from here. We'll see if Zest wants to try a similar build. You know, Newkirk Precinct, definitely a map where we see a lot of proxies from lots of different races, I guess, except Zerg. Definitely see some Stargates out on the map. See a lot of Terrans trying to go for early plays with Reaper, proxies and stuff like that.
Imagine trying to predict the build orders in SSL challenge in 2017, Valdez. What a challenge we have ahead of ourselves. Never know quite what to expect, but it does, at least to my naive mind, appear as if we're having a more standard game.
Well, for now. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm just waiting.
Impact
I'm watching.
wants to turn on the jets and start taking off on his Jin Air airplane. Or, you know, on his Dead Pixels airplane, if you will. And
in the future, all pro gamers will have airplanes, Valdez.
Maybe someday. A man can dream.
You already have a boat.
I have a boat?
Yeah, it kind of crashed a little bit and I had to clean it up afterwards. But
oh, yeah, that's right. I heard about that boat.
Yeah. You're on a boat and then not
one of the dark parts of my family history, for sure. The Exxon Valdez.
They try to bury that under the rug, and they're just like, well, no, we can't fit an oil.
Yeah, wouldn't be the first or the last time either.
Okay, well, we don't see a huge giant Baneling bust coming yet for Impact, but when he really pulled the trigger, it was maybe in about a minute or so. So we'll wait until that 3rd hatchery gets up and then see if he wants to go for a very similar kind of bust. But I think at least this time Zest will be a little bit more aware. He already has an Adept out there on the map. He got a probe scout earlier, and he will be able to limit the scouting information that Impact has, as opposed to game number 1, where those 2 Zerglings just ran all the way into the man.
Yeah, Beck trying to go more macro style here. You can see that Zest at the same time not going for the block. Sickest shade there. About a foot to the left. Nice scout here by Impact. We'll see the Stargate coming up.
So even though he doesn't get the Zerglings in, still the information being had. Plenty of advanced warning, though. Impact will be able to get these spore colonies up a little bit faster. Spore crawlers. This is not...
people know what you're talking about.
I've been playing a little bit too much Brood War Remastered.
Remaster's coming out, you know? You got to prepare people, right?
Got a chance to play Remastered the other day. Looks sick! So definitely a little bit on the brain. Turns out spore colonies, or spore crawlers, did it again. A little bit better. You can move them around and put them in positions where you need them, as you are wont to do. So Impact should be good against the Oracles, and he's actually also able to take out one of the Adepts and push the other one back at half health. So looks pretty good to me so far. Actually, not even losing more than 1 drone to that Oracle.
Yeah, and he's got Lings on the map to begin to pressure. The second Oracle, not out yet, but the first one will come back and attempt to defend here. Should be able to. Or is it too low on energy? He actually doesn't have the energy for it, and his Adept's not in position, so he's forced to cancel that Nexus.
Wow.
Pretty big blow.
Yeah, definitely, and I feel like not even that much committed there by Impact. That's sort of the accidental advantage you get when you just go forward and do stuff. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, I just got a Nexus cancel. That's pretty neat. Yeah, so Impact getting some value out there on the map. He hasn't taken a lot of damage back at home, and it does look like at least he's been forced into Roaches at this point in the game. A lot of times Zerg players have kind of like to skip that and go for more of this Hydra Bane style, but no, Roaches are on the way. Diving in on top of that Spore and barely able to save that at 1 HP.
This time Zest trying to be a little bit more careful with this Oracle, it seems. And it is working out. More important to keep it alive. And Zest did get the scout of the Ro.1, so he should know that some Roaches will be out on the map. Impact's playing a very safe style where he's got stuff available before the attack even comes across the map. Delays his drones being made. Wants to make sure he can secure his 3 bases, but he's got to be careful not to play it too safe here.
Right, I don't think there's too much to worry about. He just finished a round of making 10 drones, so Impact is just chilling. He's got as many workers as he could possibly ask for. He's got enough Roaches to defend against any adept pressure, and really that pressure is like, you know, when I push down on my pencil. That's kind of the level of pressure we have going on right now. That's just like, I've got 5 adepts, man, and Impact has more Roaches than he knows what to do with. So he's in a great spot. Defended against the Oracle harassment, and it really just has everything that it needs now. Going to get a full scout of Zest space and see everything that Zest is going for. And even though this is a very standard kind of game, I feel like Impact has really just been that little bit ahead the entire time.
Yeah, it started with delaying that 3rd base, and even though he was playing it very safe, as you said, he is catching up in the drone counts, even very far ahead at this point. I wonder what the transition for him will be, because as of right now, he's only making Roaches, and I know Pig's really happy at home that we have a lot of Roaches, but he is going to need something else. I haven't even really seen any Ravagers in the mix.
Imagine needing something else, Valdez.
You don't usually want to channel your inner SOS and make only 1 unit.
Look, I mean, we're just playing mono battles now. SOS already did the Immortal mono battle earlier. He also did the Zealot mono battle. He also actually kind of cheated and built oracles in that game too.
Yeah.
So this time we get to see the Roach mono. Just kidding, there's Zerglings too. Just a little bit of a lighthearted take on some of the wackiness here of the builds, but it's still just a very new, very scary world to live in. So the Zerglings will finally get cleaned up, but they do get a full scout, and I believe they did also see that robotics bay, or robotics support bay that was coming down as well. So Impact knows there will be those Disruptors or Colossi coming up.
Yeah, Disruptor on the way, but Impact, the idea is make as many Roaches as possible, morph a bunch of Ravagers right before the attack, and bring Queens. So a gigantic attack coming across. Those Corrosive Biles will clean up the force fields right from the get-go. Zest, only 1/3 of his army is attacking, and he loses the Mothership Core.
He didn't move it away from the Corrosive Biles, and that means that even the sentries won't be effective because the Corrosive Biles are going to clear out their force fields too. So no overcharges, very ineffective force field, and only 1 Disruptor out on the field right now. It's going to have 1 shot, 1 opportunity, but something tells me it's going to let it slip.
Okay, might get a couple of damages on those Queens, but that's about it. Huge concave here from Impact, trying to push on in, and Zest, his army, is being cleaned up.
Has in fact seen better days, Valdez. I don't know, this is not looking good for our Protoss player. He has tried to defend his base, but losing a Mothership Core especially just not helping him out, not doing him any favors. Even both of these Disruptors, they're not strong enough to kill a Queen, and that's really what he's been hitting mostly with them. So he's going to lose this 3rd base and be pushed back to his natural, and there's Infinity Roaches rallied across the map coming his way.
GG, that's going to do it. Impact even responding pretty happy and quick on that one. The 2-0 victory going over to Impact, and
I mean, this is SSL. This is a tournament where Zest, you really first started to see him just start bopping people right and left, and now all of a sudden,
different time.
He is the receiver of the boppening. It is just not a great time to be Zest or SOS. Our previous Protoss gods have kind of fallen on dark days, and for Impact, a great way to start off his new season of SSL Challenge.
Yeah, I was really excited to see what SOS would bring in, but kind of just seemed like a bunch of cheesy builds. But then Zest comes in here, Doesn't really look all too impressive
He at least
either.
tried to play standard games. He just wasn't being played that way against. He got kind of cheesed in game number 1, rushed, let's call it that, and was never really able to recover. And then in game 2, I feel like he was just never able to really deal any damage that stuck to Impact. Yeah,
so Impact tonight is the better player that is going to take that victory, the 2-0. We have Björn crossing the screen. Hi, Björn.
That was Björn's shadow.
We also got Patience. Hi, Patience.
Yeah, they are.
You're on camera.
I love this new feature that SSL Challenge does.
You know, it's awesome. But, guys, it looks like we're ready to go into that break. So when we come back, we got the next matchup coming right at you after about 10 minutes. Stay tuned.